So what are we talking about?
Johnny, what are we talking about?
Ben, where are you, Ben? You want to jump in here?
He's here.
You want to jump in and talk about this? Ben made a video today about what was the title of it?
Does it pay to shred?
Does it pay to shred? And and that's a good topic to discuss.
I would say in most instances, yes.
Well, let's wait. He said, "Time for me to get roasted. I expect the other side of the debate here." I mean, if we're gonna roast, if we're gonna shred him, I want him to be here. But no,
yeah.
Well, first of all, what's your definition of shred? Because a lot of people think Van Halen is Eddie Van Halen is shred, and he's not.
That's something that's something I was gonna say is
yeah.
I don't think of Eddie Van Halen at all when you think of shred. When the Guitar Magazine says shred on it, you think of Satriani or one of those guys.
Yeah, I don't.
I'd even be I
wouldn't even put Satch in there.
I would even be as bold as saying Satriani and Vi are also not shred. They're just highly technical
virtuosos,
guitar players.
Well, do you remember the cover though? There was a cover of Guitar World, and it said "Is Shred Dead?" and it was a picture of Satriani.
Yeah.
Here's how I would kind of think about that. Remember back in like the late '80s, early '90s, even mid '90s. Well, a lot of people considered like Motley Crue, Van Halen, like heavy metal. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like they're not heavy metal at all. So I think back then, in my opinion, Eddie Van Halen was probably the first shredder. But nowadays, I look back and I'm like, Eddie Van Halen's, according to nowadays, like, the definition of shred guitar now, Eddie Van Halen is not. So I think the definition kind of changed,
The first Van Halen album was shred. I mean, that's what started the entire thing for a lot of these guys. Eddie would do Eruption. Eddie would do all those interviews and say that it's his fault, or it's not his fault that all people are playing like typewriters.
Wait, when did Blizzard of Oz come out?
81.
All right, so that was after? Okay.
Yeah, Blizzard of Oz was 2-3 years after Van Halen 1.
Okay.
I would consider Randy Rhoads more of a shredder than Eddie ever was. But I remember, of course, I'm a big Petrucci fan, and he was always a shredder to me, just because his alternate picking and how fast he could play a scale. I was like, oh my God, it's crazy.
But nowadays, I just think so many guys are just, because I prefer substance over, like Petrucci. I've always enjoyed Petrucci's playing because he, in my opinion, I'm a Petrucci fan. But I always consider, like, especially some of those earlier solos off the first, 2 albums, just there's so much technicality, but also so much melody.
His melody is just some of the best out there.
Yeah, and he has a knack for putting in the hard stuff, but as well as making it memorable. Like you listen to those solos, and them. Like you can hum his solos for the most part. A lot of it's but a lot of the stuff is very memorable.
Right.
But then you watch him play, and you're like bored because he's just boring to watch. He does nothing. That guy does nothing.
Dave comes in with the hammer.
I'm sorry. He's a fantastic guitar player. I'm not saying that he's not. He's absolutely one of the most talented guitar players as far as ability. Mm-hmm. But you watch him play, and it's compared to watching Vi and Satriani, he's boring.
They have really simple rigs compared to Petrucci. Petrucci's rig, he has like a gajillion buttons in front of him, and they all do something different. And he has memorized.
This one controls the
this one's the delay. This one's this one. This one is for this song. You know, because we have a 3.5 hour show, so I have a button for every single song. Like that's what he is doing. He is tiptoeing every single show.
They play three songs.
I got 3 words for you, John Petrucci. Get a tech.
Yeah.
Well, no, Jared, I'm talking about the video when he's like the John Petrucci Shreds video, when like he's showing his rig backstage and somebody's overdubbing the voice, and it's like this one controls the.
Oh, that was from his Rock Discipline video.
Yes, and it's
I put mine on 5 million, and nobody else does that, and so you know what you should do is that you should just throw your guitar away because you're shit.
I absolutely love the Malmsteen one. I am your new god.
Yeah.
So if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, when we're done here, obviously, you know, don't turn this show off for anything. I don't care. I don't care if the house is burning down to the ground. But just after we're done, go on YouTube and type in John Petrucci Shreds.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we'll put all those in the Discord.
Dude, it is one of the funniest videos I've seen on YouTube.
Yeah.
There you go. So Ben Combs' video is.
Hey!
Hey,
Benjamin.
Hey.
Also, Steve Anderson. Holy
What?
crap, man! Steve Anderson he's in the chat, man.
Holy crap!
Steve-O.
Sorry you're late. It's only been 6 months.
Yeah, Steve, we thought you didn't like us anymore.
What do you mean us?
Well, he never calls or talks to me, so. And I always, you know, consider me us.
You call to talk to him?
I don't have his number.
Are you one of those guys? You never call me. Well, do you call me?
I call you. Do you ever call me?
Yeah.
Oh.
We call each other.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call each
other? Vancouver Island is in the house.
Yeah, good to see you, man. So Ben, this video that you put up today, explain what the video was about.
Did it go viral yet?
No.
It went viral.
It went vile.
Yeah, more like it went viral. Yeah,
went viral in the Hannon and Beane house.
Yeah, so basically, I put the video up to to discuss it, to debate it, and basically I looked at it as like you're out there playing in bars, small events, this and that. And the title of the video was, Does It Pay to Shred? And pay being in quotation marks. And based off just my own experience and stuff, as well as previously playing in an original band, indie band, trying to get some notoriety and stuff, I basically just laid out it's that most people that I play to the last few years, they could care less how good you could play, as long as it's obviously not bad notes, but as long as it was somewhat melodic, solo, let's say, but they're more cared about just getting up, dancing, and having a good time, not how well you can really play technically. And that's kind of where I put it. And I found
I mean, it's, especially on the local level. On the local level, no one cares if you can shred. All they care about is drinking beer, and all the bar owner cares about is people drinking beer. No one really even cares about the band.
Yeah, and I did say at the beginning of the video, like if you have a band that's playing, clubs that are 1,000 people, 2,000 people a night and stuff, oh, for sure, shredding pays, because you are pulling in that larger crowd that they want to be impressed, because they're going to see you. They're not going to just have a good time, right?
Yeah, for the most part. But again, it's about well, maybe you're right in that capacity. I always think of these things as band versus bar owner, and not really customers, because these days the customers that are there are your people, because the bars don't do anything to get the people in there. They expect the band to.
Very much.
And,
but I mean, are you talking about like if they're playing cover songs, right? I guess it.
Yeah, well, we're talking about on a local level, bar bands in general are only cover bands.
Right. But like, say, like, you know, like the intro to "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey, everybody wants to hear that, you know, that little hammer on and pull off lead lick.
Sure.
You know, and the people are like, "Woo, yeah, that was cool," yeah, you know. But sometimes it gets people riled up, you know, depending on what kind of cover songs you're gonna play that might have some kind of shreddy solos in them, and then they're like, "Man, this guy, like, he's playing. It sounds like the original band. This guy's killing it."
Right. Yeah, there is that as well. I do agree on that. But it's like, I don't know, like if you play a bunch of songs and, you know, you have that guy that can do, you know, let's say, you know, 3 or 4 songs a set, there is a little bit of shred going on there. But generally, like, we'll notice, especially because we're guitar players, but even the guys that listen to that style of music, yeah, they'll be impressed. But it's like the general crowd, they're just like, oh, he seems pretty good. And they kind of, you know, they shrug it off, but they don't, if that makes any sense.
Most of the time, you'll get the guys in the crowd playing the air guitar to the riffs that they know from the original song. But girls in general, women in general, you know, there's 2 things they care about: is the singer hot, and does the song sound good? And that's all.
Can I dance to it?
Can I dance to it?
I don't want to listen to it. It's crap.
I mean, there's different ways to look at this. I mean, if you're playing guitar, especially nowadays, like modern musician, if you're playing guitar to get paid, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and the chances of that happening, you know, you probably should play in a cover band if you want to get paid being a musician nowadays.
Well, that's what I did almost all my life.
But wouldn't you think, like, let's just say you're on stage playing and you're ripping it up a little bit, and there's somebody in there that happens to be, you know, maybe in a bigger band or something that you're playing with, and they're like, holy crap, this guy's got some chops. Let's get him. You know, that happens time to time too. Some bigger band's playing, and you get picked up, and
yeah, like I've done both. Like, we did the original thing. I was definitely not the lead player. I couldn't play lead at all at that time, but we had a shredder lead player. And, you know, we would play a lot in Toronto for, you know, like you say, hope the right people show up and stuff like that. But literally, it's, you know, you would go up there, you're playing 1, maybe 2 sets, and you're making $20 a head, as opposed to now playing covers. Yeah, you're playing 4 sets, but you're getting 100, 150 a head.
Yeah.
Well,
but you do sacrifice the money to try to get exposure, obviously. That's why I played.
And there's always been 2 different roads. There's always been the guys that just want to play covers and have fun and make some money, and the guys that are trying to make it big, you know, playing originals and making no money. I've always been the guy that wanted to play covers. I was never really interested in playing and writing my own material and playing original music. I just never was. You know, maybe for 5 minutes when I was 20. And when I realized that, you know, when you throw the dice and do that, you know, you have a better chance of getting hit by a bus when you leave the venue than making it big. I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to cut my losses at that and have a good time making some good money playing guitar for a living. Yep. That was me. That's me personally. That's how I thought about it.
But that's what I'm saying. This is so many different ways to look at this, because I was the exact opposite, Dave. Like, once, you know, I felt like obviously everybody starts out. I think I can speak for all of us. You start playing guitar to play your guitar hero's music. You know, you hear a riff or you hear a part. Oh my God, I have to learn how to play that. But then I think after a couple of years, I started to, you know, be in a band with my friends and stuff and writing original music. And it went on from there. But after that was over, kind of a thing, I was just like, eh.
Yeah, but Jay, in your instance, you know, you had a couple things going for it. Plus, you were pretty lucky to be in a pretty a semi-notariable like a band that people know. You know, you got yourself on a tour. You know, yeah, you were an opening band, but you were still on a major tour, which is a good thing. Plus, not a bad looking guy. You know, you have some. I'm just calling it how I see it.
Yeah, you're marketable.
You know, you looked good. Your band sounded good. You're a good player, and you got some luck happening.
Well, it's always, most of it is luck and who you know.
Right.
You just got to be honest about things, you know.
So when I, back to me, when I looked in the mirror and said, you know, in the 80s and 90s, I said to myself, this fat guy ain't going nowhere as far as getting notable. So I'm just going to have a good time playing locally, making some money, and making a little bit of a name for myself, doing what I do the best way I can. You know, some people, it's, you know, unfortunately for me, because of the way I looked, I wasn't going anywhere. So
yeah, we virtually made zero money. And I think a couple of years ago, like, we finally recouped on our album, and it's still like, it's just crazy how, as an original artist, the amount of time and effort and all the stuff you put into it, you know, and you know, for the most part, I did it because I loved it. It wasn't because of a thing where, like, oh, I want to be famous. It was none of that crap. It was always like, I love playing guitar. I love being in a band. I love playing music. So that was almost payment in itself. So if you look at it that way too, like Sammy says, how do you measure success? What is success? Is it album sales? Is it money? Is it, you know, all that crap? But anyway,
we have a really popular local metal scene here in Dallas, and it's called the Dallas metal scene, but it's all these, you know, bars, clubs in downtown, the Deep Ellum area, which is just down the street from me, that it caters towards a lot of hard rock and metal bands. And there's no money involved, but it's all bands that have, I would say, 90% of their own original stuff. And then 10% is just, they throw in a couple of covers just to get the crowd riled up. But it's really cool going to see them, because all of these guys are, no matter, I mean, they could be 22 years old or they could be 50, and they could just be crazy into metal, but you go to watch them and these guys just absolutely love being on stage and just playing their music, even though they know that they're not going to make any money on it. I don't know who makes money for the ticket sales or whatever, but it's just cool to go see that, because these guys just, you know, no egos, no nothing. They're not getting anything out of it. They just like going to play, but it's all original.
Sorry to interrupt. I'll be right back. I just got to grab my charge cable.
Oh yeah.
Where you going, Ben? Well, we still haven't really heard from we still haven't heard Johnny's take on this. I'm kind of curious as to you know,
on charge cable.
On charge cables, which one do you use?
Oh man, I use the you got to use the official ones, because anything cheap can ruin your stuff. Right? So what? Yeah, give me a question, because I have no idea what's going on here.
I guess the whole shred pay and like your outlook on, I guess the way I was explaining it and Dave was explaining it, and it's kind of like what got you, I guess, out there playing, and then your overall view. My coffee's kicking in, by the way. Remember, Johnny, you were talking about before? Whoa! Oh! Knocked it down.
Did you just spill it?
No, it didn't come out.
Your coffee's getting kicked over.
Yeah,
Wow.
Like, was it about making money, and did you worry about like having to be able to play 1 million notes a minute or any of that stuff?
Myself? Hey, Max. Welcome, man. What? Playing 1 million notes? No, I've never cared about shredding. Even when I wanted to be Eddie Van Halen, I didn't care about that stuff. You know, I didn't spend all my time doing the scales and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but what?
Well, was it ever a thing? I know this is kind of going off into a little different territory, but I mean, was there ever a time where you, like, why did you want to I guess, be in a band and play out and stuff like that? Was it just because you loved it, or was there anything like, oh, I want to be famous, I want to be a rock star, or was it all just because you loved playing guitar and loved creating music and all that stuff?
I loved playing the guitar. I loved watching Live Without a Net and just thinking how much fun that looked like, being on stage like that with the huge pants.
With the pink Jenkos.
Yeah, I gotta find some of those, man. I'm gonna bring those back, you guys.
How come nobody asks Eddie? You still have those pants?
Well, he wore them again. He wore them again in 2004. They were just all ripped, but they were the same pants.
Those are the same pants? Oh man, that's awesome.
He never took them off. Ever.
Anthony, did I ever play the Stone? No, the Stone I think closed. The Stone is a place. Was that in San Francisco? It was, wasn't it? No, that place closed down before I got into the scene around here. It's before I was born. Yeah. Hey, Guitar Hack. Hey, man. No, I started playing the guitar just because I thought it looked cool, you know, and I thought it was fun. But as far as like being famous or whatever, the more attention I got from being in bands or whatever, or being in magazines or whatever it was, the more of that I would get, the more embarrassed I would get. And to me, it would just be embarrassing to see that stuff. Is that weird?
Yes.
That's very strange.
It is.
It's pretty strange, Johnny.
Yeah. Because I didn't want. I don't know. I didn't want any of that. I just love to play. But as far as doing covers or originals, I love writing. I love creating. So to me, naturally, that means original stuff. But you know, I played a gig on Friday, and it was a mix of covers and originals from somebody else. You know, not me. But I had a great time playing the stuff. And if you guys saw the videos, you know, I streamed the videos on here. A lot of the parts I'm playing, I come up with myself, you know, to the singer's original stuff. So it's not just like on her albums. It's like I'm putting my own spin on the stuff. So in a way, it is almost like original stuff to me. But and I made like $100. No, I made like $130.
And now that you said that, where everyone can hear it, they're going to send you $10.99 at the end of the year.
Yeah, you better watch out, man.
You have to claim taxes on that $130.
No, I do. I do all that stuff is taxed.
Screw that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you probably got more than that. You're just saying that. I guess that's what you put on your tax return. So there's a couple different people commenting, and I, you know, to a certain extent agree with. Where the hell was it, man?
I'm curious. Yeah, to hear. I don't have the chat.
What?
I don't have the chat up myself, so.
Somebody wrote about. They mentioned Nita Strauss, and Soda Pop said, "Ask Malmsteen if Shred pays. He has a garage full of Ferraris." But that's a completely different time.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, Vi and Satch and Malmsteen, like all those guys were at a point where, you know, rock and metal wanted to hear more of that stuff.
Right, and Malmsteen was the pioneer of that style of music.
Yes,
he was the guy. You know, he took off where Richie Blackmore left. You know, and so of course Malmsteen made it big, but who else? I mean, Vinnie Moore, you don't hear of him very much, and he was one of the big guys back then too. You know, he dropped off the face of the earth.
But I mean, the whole music industry's changed. I mean, you don't hear anything like pop radio when we were younger was still playing rock music.
Yeah.
Right.
And now it's nobody, you know, if you're going to start out playing guitar now and expect to hit it big, you're nuts.
Especially when you're pushing 50.
Well, no, the internet has changed all that. I mean, look how did we get Justin Bieber? You know,
God.
he was a kid singing on YouTube.
Dude, that's a huge exception, and you have to basically sell your soul to you know get to that level nowadays.
Yeah, on behalf of Canada, I'll apologize for that. Sorry, but you guys can keep them, okay?
And
you gave us Avril Lavigne, who I could care less about her music, but you know I'll take her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about her double?
Yeah,
is her double American?
Double American. I'll take both of them.
But no.
Lamp.
You got to rock. But no. With these days with YouTube, I mean anybody, you know. But what's the definition of making it though? Like what you were saying, what Sammy was saying.
Yeah.
There's different levels.
Yeah.
You know, people think I've made it because I'm sitting here on YouTube right now. You know, and I'm sitting here like, this is embarrassing.